White Rocket Entertainment podcast number 947. More football coaching hires, a lot of comings and goings today, and a win by the basketball team. How do we feel about the state of things? The AU Wishbone, with guest star Santa Boris, is next. Theme music. From the frigidly, frozenly cold part of Southern Illinois and Eastern Virginia, it's the AU Wishbone podcast. John, how are you tonight?
Frigid, Van. I'm frigid as well. How are you?
I like that we generally start the show off with a weather report, because most of our listeners don't live in Illinois or Virginia, but we do. So it was cold today, man. I went out to get to pay the water bill. And I was like, man, I think I could have just mailed this or something because, Lord, it was like -5 on the feels like this morning. It was crazy. Oh, but we are safely ensconced in the palatial White Rocket Studios now. And hopefully this show will warm everybody up with its burning questions about what's going on the plains right now, and quite a few things are going on. But of course, before we get into any of that, we always it's the Auburn Fun Meter, our weekly look at how much fun it is to be an Auburn fan right this very. I have to be careful when I do this because I gesture and it goes off the camera. It's I have to do the tomahawk chop. Yeah, this very minute. So how much fun on a scale of 0 to 10 is it to be an Auburn fan right now, John?
It's, again, a tough week. Won a basketball game, hired some coaches, got some football players that are in the portal, had another signee. So overall net positive. I'm feeling pretty good. Again, we're heading into the heart of basketball season. And so I'm it's the holidays. I'm going to say 7.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. You usually pretty much reflect what I'm feeling. So I know, I mean, we're going to talk about this in just a minute in depth, of course, but there have been maybe 1 or 2 entries into the transfer portal so far that I've not been thrilled about. I think there's one that I was really not happy. I'm really disappointed, but by and large, so far, I think it's been over 10 people now that have announced there, and none of them are in it officially yet. These are just people who have announced that they are going to when the time comes. They could change their mind, they could go in and then come right back. That's happened too. So none of this is absolutely a lock yet. But but there's been at least 1 or 2 that I've been kind of like, man, but I guess you just, in this day and age, you have to expect that. And we haven't really, because obviously they're not actually leaving yet. Nobody can say really that they're coming here yet either. So we're getting the bad news, but we're not getting any good news. But let's just be clear with everybody out there. Nobody right now is getting any good transfer portal news. Nobody, right?
No.
There are people that said, I'm going to put myself into the portal when the portal opens. But there's nobody that said, I'm going there. No, not yet. So if you out there in AU Wishbone land, if you are sad and depressed about who from the Auburn team has put themselves allegedly in the portal and why you haven't heard of anybody coming, you just got to wait. Because there's not a university in America right now that knows officially who's coming. Am I not correct?
Yes. No, that's where we are.
So don't feel bad. I mean, when the day comes and they can announce it, you may be like, oh, we're getting who? We're getting that person and that person. Now you might say, but we did pick up a guy today, but that wasn't through the transfer portal. That was a commitment, right?
That was a high school signee. Yeah,
exactly. Which we're going to get to. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody because, this stuff changes so much every year that you might well get the impression, well, Auburn keeps losing all these people, but we're not getting anybody. Well, nobody's getting anybody yet. Okay. So we got that out of the way. I had a question for you. Now, we do have a magically powered being who's going to appear in a segment later to make gift to take gift requests. But first, I just had this question for you. If a genie popped out of a bottle, or let's say popped out of a glass of Toomer's lemonade and said, I'll give you one wish granted completely if that wish is Auburn gets John Sumrall and Golesh goes to Florida. Everything else stays the same. Nothing else changes, but Sumrall goes to Auburn and Golesh goes to Florida. Would you say, yes, I want that deal, or no, leave it the way it is? Because I know what my answer would be in a heartbeat.
Van, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to run down John Sumrall on this podcast.
Okay. I'm not running him down. I said, would you swap for him or not? That's not an insult to him or a compliment. It's just saying, would you rather, if you could swap him now, how do you feel about it today?
Well, I mean, the evening, the night before we got Golesh, I really wanted Sumrall.
Okay.
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
And I was very disappointed that we didn't get it. So if the genie said somebody else made that wish and it's happening, I'd be, well, okay. I could live with that. So,
well, let's put it this way. If the genie asked me that night, because this is what I'm getting at. I think you've hit on what I'm getting at. If the genie had asked me that night, I would have been, oh, absolutely. But my point is that I've so come to really like and appreciate the good stuff about Golesh that I don't think I would switch now. I think I'm very happy with how it played out, and my answer to the genie would be no. I think I'd like to stand pat. That's all I mean. That's not an insult to Sumrall. That's just saying I'm excited. I'm more excited with who we got than I thought I would be.
Well, so I let's leave the Sumrall part out of it. Okay.
Okay.
And I would say I would agree with you in the sense that yes, I'm very happy with Golesh and everything he's done so far and how he's handled it. So on that part, I agree 100%.
Good. All right. That's just was curious. All right. So what is the coaching staffing situation?
So we've continued to hire coaches since our last podcast. We went over a bunch of assistant coaches last week, so I'm only going to talk about the new one. So the first is a returning coach, Larry Porter, who's coming as running backs coach. He was at Auburn from 2017 to 2020 as tight ends coach. And H-backs coach under Gus. And he's been in a bunch of other schools. He was at West Virginia right before this. He was in North Carolina. He's been all over the SEC as well. And so he's going to be the running back coach and a guy that's been a national recruiter of the year several times, a veteran coach. And then on the defensive side, we brought in two guys who were former SEC defensive coordinators. Coleman Huntsler is going to coach the defensive ends and edges. He was coming from Mississippi State, where he was the defensive coordinator at Mississippi State the last 2 years. And he's been around the SEC a lot. He's worked with Durkin before. And so he was the defensive ends and edges coach at Alabama the 2 years before he was at Mississippi State. He coached Will Anderson and Dallas Turner, guys like that there. So obviously coaching this position, he's pretty good at developing talent.
Sounds like
and that's why he got the Mississippi State defensive coordinator job. So, and then we also hired Tim Banks, who was the former defensive coordinator at Tennessee, and they didn't have a very good year this year, and they fired him. But he's going to be the co-defensive coordinator and the safeties coach. And, the 3 years prior to that, their defense was excellent. It was in the top 3 or 4 in the conference. And he was a defensive coordinator at Penn State before that. He was at Illinois before that, and a good coach. So I like this. I like Auburn adding former defensive coordinators to this staff. Banks had worked with, Golesh at Tennessee. And so they knew each other well from that time. And so I like, Auburn adding more defensive coordinator experience under Durkin. Just these guys have played all the other teams in the league that we haven't played, and we're going to play both of their teams next year. So we literally have a guy who was on the Tennessee staff 5 minutes ago and a guy who's on the Mississippi State staff 5 minutes ago and we're playing those teams next year. And between the three of those two and Durkin, they probably played everybody in the conference. So when we play some new team next year, we know how to prepare for them and what they like to do and stuff. So and those guys are going to be fine as position coaches. So I really like this move.
That just seems like some pretty big names. I mean, as opposed to some we've had over the years, it seems like big names coming in here. That's always a good thing, I would think.
It is. And I mean, I think a lot of our fans are like, oh, he's just going to hire, guys from South Florida or, small school guys. These are guys with SEC experience that could have gone anywhere. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Defensive coordinators at SEC schools. That's amazing. Okay. And then we lost Marcus Davis, the wide receiver coach, which is disappointing. Yep. And may there was word that they might have offered to let him coach a different position or something, and he said he wanted to stick with wide receiver coach, and so they needed to move him out.
And there was word tonight, right before this, that Auburn hired a tight ends coach, the last coach, and it is Larry Scott, who was, at the point we hired him, was the head coach of Howard. But before that, he had been an assistant at Florida and Tennessee. He had been the tight ends coach at Florida when we played them in 2019, when they had Kyle Pitts on that Florida team, and he got drafted real high. And then he had been, I think, the offensive coordinator at Tennessee before that. So Larry Scott, he's now the last offensive coach. He's the tight ends coach.
All right. So it just keeps – I mean, I kept thinking we must be out of room on the staff, but they keep finding more room to squeeze dudes in.
I think Scott is probably the last guy. Assuming everything stays. I think we're good now.
Larry Porter sounds familiar to me too. I know you said he coached back during the end of Gus's run, but I feel like that's a name I should know more than just random dude on the sideline there. But I mean, if he was, there were some good offensive players during those years, 2017, 2018, 2019. So yeah. Heck yeah. And I hate losing Marcus Davis. He's a good recruiter. The receivers really liked him. But I mean, it also begs the question, will we be able to hang on to Cam Coleman if Marcus Davis leaves?
But I think Cody was coming in, and I think he was probably going to coach the receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, got to have him. So he's the assistant head coach or whatever now. So, I the more I think about it, we desperately wanted to keep the receivers. We've already lost two of them, it looks like, and the other two we don't know yet. Of course, Bryce Kane has never really done much, but it's really down to Cam. But honestly, at this point, I mean, if we lose them, it's just the last of the Freeze regime kind of floating out the door, and there's nothing we can do about it. I guess if they wanted to keep him, they'll find a way if it's possible, and if it's not possible, then what can you do, right? So
that's right.
They've certainly got enough money on hand now, I would think, after everybody else has left, they to pay him. All right, so yeah, Malcolm Simmons leaving, Perry Thompson is leaving, Horatio Fields is leaving. We only saw him for 5 minutes. So that's 3 of our receivers gone, but Kane and so far Cam Coleman and Singleton, right, are still.
Singleton may go pro. I mean,
yeah, we don't know what he's going to do yet. Haven't heard. DeAndre Carter.
Yep, a good young offensive lineman, probably one of our higher recruited offensive linemen that was still on the roster, a guy that people felt good about probably being a starting guard potentially next year. So that's a loss. I don't like that. We lost 2 other backup offensive linemen, Favor Edwin and Seth Wofford, in the saying they were going to go in the portal today. But Carter is the one that I don't like, because I think he's a guy who could have come in and competed for a starting spot next year. So
there was also word that our center that was hurt, and I'm blanking out on his name right now, that he might be. I don't know if he'd be going pro.
I think Connor Lew. I think before the season, before he got hurt, I think he definitely would have gone pro. He was getting really good reviews from the NFL people, but I don't know what his NFL stock is after the injury. So
I don't think he was having a great season, honestly. It didn't seem like it this year. We'd seem to do better after he went out, honestly. But that could be a lot of factors, though. And then, 4-star offensive lineman Bear McWhirter, or however you pronounce his last name. I didn't see it written down, so I'm not sure how to spell it. But I was like, how did we get a 4-star offensive lineman that everybody wanted? And I'm like, oh, because he was a Michigan commit.
And decommitted.
People are just, I'm sure, just lined up outside of Ann Arbor. Like, have you considered the SEC, young man? Because not a good time to be a Michigan Wolverine, I don't think.
No, and this is a guy that like Alabama and Florida and some other schools wanted when he was, competing with Michigan to sign him originally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's just funny. I mean, we think we've had a rough time, but just imagine what Michigan fans are going through right now. Good Lord. So, all right, we found out, we kind of knew most of it, but we got the actual dates and everything for the 2026 Auburn tackle football schedule. And let me get the little boxes out of the way.
Let's talk about it.
Stop jumping around, you stupid. Ugh. All right. So we knew we opened in Atlanta on September 5th with Baylor. And that's September 5th, actually. 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was like, that might almost be the week after Dragon Con, but no, I think that's the Dragon Con weekend.
No, it's the Dragon Con weekend. It's just later than normal this year because of when Labor Day.
It's the Aflac Dragon Con kickoff game, of course, Saturday. That means there'll be a lot of Auburn people and a lot of Baylor people swarming all over the happy Nerdy Gras hunting grounds in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So I might be able to sneak over for some of that one. And as soon as I said that, our great patron and dear friend Kathy Bright's like, hey, see if you can get me a ticket too. And I'm sure Jared will say the same thing. So we might have a whole posse heading over from Dragon Con. And then I'm sure Auburn Elvis will be there. And let's see. Then on September 12th, we have kickoff on the Plains with Southern Miss. And I'm always happy to see Southern Miss on our schedule for two reasons. One, they are a long time out of conference opponent. We've played them as one of our non-conference opponents going back decades and decades and decades and decades. In fact, the very first game Bo Jackson ever played for Auburn might have been against Southern Miss, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. Back when they used to be like as good as an SEC team. For a long time, they were absolutely, when they had Brett Favre, but even before Brett Favre, they were every bit as good. And most years they were better than either Mississippi State or Ole Miss. It really wasn't until it probably wasn't until the late 80s, early 90s that they kind of faded a little bit behind the other two just because they weren't in the SEC, I think. All right, so that's September 12th. September 19th, John, for only the second time since I moved to Illinois, for the second time in 20 years, Florida at Auburn in Jordan-Hare. Auburn played Florida in Jordan-Hare in 2006. That was the Trey Smith Pontiac game-changing where we beat them without scoring a touchdown on offense, right, with Tim Tebow. And then we played them again in a rather lackluster game in 2011 where Michael Dyer was a sophomore and probably had 150 yards or something, and we just kind of ground them down, in one of
Gene's.
One of Chiswick's wins, yeah. And that was it. The SEC schedule has been so bad for the last 20 years. So bad. I mean, has Georgia yet played at Texas A&M? Didn't we decide they never have?
They never played there.
That's so insane. But yeah, I mean, So Florida back in Auburn, a game that used to be played in Auburn every other year through 2001. I think 2001 was the last regular game every year. And then 02 was in Gainesville. We didn't play him in 03, didn't play him in 04, didn't play him in 05, and then 6 and 7 was when they rotated on, and we won those two. So I am super excited, and I'm like, John?
Yeah, I hear you. No, and it's gonna. I mean, and it's gonna be big TV drama. Golesh versus Summerall. The SEC network's gonna be all over this game. So,
yeah.
SEC opener.
It is the SEC opener. That's crazy. All right. Then September 26th, we welcome the mighty, giant slaying, playoff contending Vanderbilt Commodores, to whom we have at least a 2-game losing streak. October 3rd, we go to Knoxville to play Tennessee for the first time in a few years. So that'll be fun.
I think the first time since 13 or 14.
13, we played them there because we ran all over them on the way to the national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't played them since then. That's crazy. Saturday, October 17th, we have a week off. The 10th, we're off. October 17th at Georgia, Athens. Okay, then you in the middle of the state in the season thing. The following week, LSU in Auburn. This is like every
Lane Kiffin's LSU Tigers.
Lane Kiffin's LSU Tigers come to Auburn. Wow. I gotta say, this is like every Auburn rivalry in history. The only thing missing off this schedule is Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Sewanee, if you really want to go back. So LSU in Auburn, October 24. Halloween night, Auburn goes to Oxford to play what remains of the once mighty Ole Miss Rebels. And I might zip down to that one. That's not that far away from me. It's about as far away from me as Chicago, in the opposite direction, and a world away.
That's a fun one.
Other end of the world. Yeah, thinking about that. November 7th, Arkansas at Auburn. And then that's the last SEC home game. November 14th, we go to Stark Vegas to play Mississippi State. The following week, we have the Samford Bulldogs. And then finally, on November 28th, we travel to Bryant-Denny Stadium to play a team that may or may not have Kalen DeBoer as their head coach.
That's right. And Samford, I think, was going to be Jacksonville State, but they switched those out.
Oh, that's right. I did think we were going to play them this year, so that's okay. And I just say, in all the infinite diversity of the universe, perhaps the most diverse thing I've ever encountered is the number of ways Alabama fans try to spell Kalen DeBoer. I've seen so many ways of spelling it. None of them correct.
All right, how do you feel about the schedule after your initial reaction on seeing it? And how do you feel about it now?
This is, it's funny. This is one of those schedules that in some years would be terrifying. I will note, by the way, there's no Oklahoma, no Texas.
No.
Texas comes on in 2027 at Austin. But there's no Oklahoma, no Texas. And what that means is, and no Missouri, and no Texas A&M. So with the lone exception and no South Carolina, you see where I'm going here? With the lone exception of Arkansas, this is like a 1985 schedule. That's what I think people are liking about it. Arkansas is like this out of conference game. That's in a schedule that got off a UFO from 1985.
And again, for the old school Auburn fans like us, we want to play Tennessee and Florida. That's what we want. That's the teams who want to play with Georgia and Alabama. And I'm excited to be playing Tennessee and Florida.
And not only that, I mean, you and I feel differently about it, but the fans a little younger than us are excited LSU is on it.
Yes.
This is like a little bit of everything for everybody from the 1980s up through like 2010. I mean, think about it. Baylor, we used to play in the 70s with Barfield. Southern Miss, we used to play with Pat Dye. Florida, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama. That's like the whole schedule from 1980 something. It is.
So it's the first year of the 9 games. So there really is one more conference games. It makes it seem like more conference games. And this is a game. This is an SEC schedule with 5 road games.
Yeah.
Only 4 SEC home games. We play 5 road games next year in conference.
Our home SEC games: Florida, Vanderbilt, LSU, Arkansas. Florida, Vanderbilt, LSU, Arkansas. Florida, LSU, and then Vanderbilt, Arkansas. That's not bad. That's okay.
That's right. We got to win those games. This is what we're calling that now. Like, we got to win the non-conference games, and we got to win those home games.
Well, think about this. We got to go to Tennessee, to Georgia, to Ole Miss, to Mississippi State, to Alabama. Oh, the other thing I was going to observe about this schedule is a couple of years ago, this would have been a terrifying schedule, but the teams have changed. I'm not scared of Florida. I'm not scared of Tennessee. I'm not scared of LSU. I'm certainly not scared of Mississippi State or Arkansas. I mean, and Ole Miss, I would have been scared of them more, but I'm not as much now. You know what I'm saying? So really, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, I know I should be more scared of LSU, but they're going to be in the first year with. I think they're not a powerhouse yet. You know, give them some time, but I just feel like this schedule on paper historically looks intimidating, but in the current context of the SEC, it's not as bad, you know, as you might think. Vanderbilt should be down a little bit.
Yeah. If Pavia leaves, they'll take a real step back. I think it's fair. I mean, Tennessee was a playoff team a year ago, and then this year kind of stepped back. I think LSU is, as you said, in the first year, and Ole Miss is going to be in the first year under Pete Golding. We'll have no idea if he's going to be any good. Arkansas has got Silverfield in the first year. We don't know if they're going to be any good. So I think that's you got to like that part at least.
A lot of first-year coaches on here. Yeah. Hey, Alabama could have a first-year coach the way things are looking, right? With Michigan.
Very fair. Very fair.
So I'm not as – I mean, the fact that Vanderbilt is one of the more concerning teams on this schedule says a lot about the current state of the SEC compared to how it was just 5 or 6 years ago.
That's right. But I know this. It's going to be an enjoyable schedule, a fun schedule to watch.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a schedule we haven't seen in a long time. It's a very old school. You know, the funny thing is, if they hadn't tampered with the order, you could just slot Florida State in where Arkansas is, and it would really seem like the 1980s. Man,
that would be like the exact 1986 schedule or whatever. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's crazy. All right. Well, and yeah, I'm thinking if I can get down to Ole Miss, but Florida would probably be my number one, and we have a segment actually coming up on that, whether you know it or not, in just a minute. Let's look at basketball. We played the mocks. We played a mock session of basketball, and we closed them out pretty good, but it was another one of these ugly wins, like kind of struggle wins, like we had against St. John's and somebody else recently.
Bethune-Cookman, and
yeah, no kidding. So I don't like struggle wins, but I prefer them to losses, right?
Yeah, and I think it's we appreciate winning, and we always talk about being happier with winning than losing. But college basketball is a little different than college football. Stephen Pearl was not happy after this win because Auburn was too sloppy and didn't defend well enough. And he's trying to make a point about if you play like this against a mid-level SEC team, you're going to lose. And so we have to play better and more consistently before we get to that point.
Yeah,
I think that's what the message is really about. So we did win, but it was close at halftime, and they cut I think we scored a bunch of points at the end to make it look more respectable.
Well, I think somebody hit a 3 right before the halftime buzzer that made it look a little less close at halftime than it was. And then Tahad hit the 3 at the closing buzzer just because he was ticked off, I think, at how they dunked on us and made a whole production out of. So that was kind of cool. I was hoping we would score again.
And your guy Keyshawn Hall had a huge game. I mean, he had like 20 points and 15 rebounds and some assists. Really rebounding well. He's the only player in the SEC in the top 5 in scoring and rebounding. So,
oh wow, that's awesome. I said he was like a little tiny Charles Barkley, and that's what he's kind of playing like.
And like Charles, he sometimes is not incredibly effective on defense. We need him to be a little more consistent in that area.
That's true. That's a very good comparison.
But he is like making a difference with his rebounding. We desperately need it, and he's doing it. One of the big stories in this game was that in the week before the game, Elijah Freeman came to Stephen Pearl, the coaches, and asked to come off the bench so that Sebastian Williams-Adams could start. And I think it helped. Elijah had a really good game, and Sway had a very good game as well. And I think it helped the starting lineup. So I think that's something they'll probably continue going forward.
And that's something that has happened before under a Pearl regime, right? This is not the first time that we've had that kind of thing happen. So
no, we've had unselfish players make unselfish plays like that, but things like that before. And Freeman, it's not like Freeman didn't make any plays. He made plays. So
he's had a big impact. I mean, yeah, there's 2 or 3 players that I've been kind of disappointed they've vanished basically off the roster lately. And there's 2 or 3 players that I wasn't really expecting a lot out of that have kind of stepped up and been very impressive. So, that's just kind of the way it always works in basketball. You can never really predict who's going to mesh and who's going to catch on quickly and who's going to struggle. It's like every year we've had a big transfer that ended up never getting off the bench after the first couple of games. This year it seems to be the Monmouth guy, I think. But yeah, Overton and Freeman and Sway, and I mean there've been several. The point guard,
Murphy, Kevin Murphy. Magwood is who you're talking about.
Magwood, yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Murphy. I mean, God, I just wish he had a little help. This team could be so much better if it just had Dylan Cardwell on it. You know what I mean? If Dylan could have just found like one more graduate degree to go for.
Well, or just pick your Auburn backup center from the last 15 years, right? One of those guys, Aubrey Wiley or whatever, could have, could have made a big difference in this game because we need more bigs. And so the big news this week also is our backup center, Emeka Oporum, is out for the season with an injury. So that's bad because we need more big guys. We need somebody else to come in and play and make it with some size, and especially on the defensive end. And now we don't have it. So it's really the upfront guys are Keyshawn Murphy and Philip Jovic and Sebastian Williams-Adams are kind of the big guys that got to be under the basket making plays. So,
which they're not. But there's a player I wish we could get on the team, Bonai Droom. Yeah. He wears like black glasses and a mustache, when he plays. I'd love to have that young man, that young amateur player on our roster.
You don't appreciate a guy like that until the consistency he brings to your offense until he's not there, and you don't have that easy drop the ball into him in a pass and he makes an easy basket. When he's going, you miss him.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was saying Dylan, because as much as we love Dylan and as great of a human being and a good basketball player as he was never a superstar.
Yeah.
And I wasn't saying Auburn needs a superstar like Broome. We just need somebody that's big and can like control the paint a little bit and get some rebounds.
Yes. No, and Dylan's leadership qualities would be great in this team too. I think we need that as well in a big way. But the big gaps we're seeing right now is, as you said, like the size piece, a center, backup center position, and then really behind Overton at shooting guard, we're not getting anything right now. So we got Simon Walker, we got essentially Magwood there. We got, we've played a lineup with Freeman there where he plays big. So we're really not getting anything out of that group. And we can't play, Overton and Tahad 50 minutes a game. So that's kind of the problem.
In fact, it looked to me like we even did a little experimenting. I may be wrong. Maybe I was seeing things, but it looked like against Chattanooga, we even did a thing where Magwood was playing point guard and
Tahad played off guard.
Tahad was playing shooting guard a little bit. The problem there is Tahad can't throw it in the ocean right now. It's driving me crazy.
Well, no, back up. He's averaging like 20 points a game the last 6 games or whatever. So
he misses so many shots, though. He just misses so many shots.
I hear you, but it's also like the other part is with playing Hall and playing Magwood and Tahad together is they're both small. And if the other team has big guards, they're going to freaking score. We're playing those two. So,
yeah. So, well, I mean, Stephen is and this staff is known for trying some experiments and moving people around a little bit. That's how we ended up with Dylan and Janai both starting for us last year, and it worked.
And it may be a thing. There may be times with like Magwood and Pettiford playing together can ignite the offense in a way that we haven't seen too. So,
yeah. Well, we can hope. All right. So coming up Saturday, December 20th, that's just 5 days away as the crow flies, we go to Indianapolis, the site of our infuriating defeat to Indiana in the 1987 round of 32, I believe, where we were beating the pants off of Bobby Knight, and that's not a pretty sight. And in Indiana and Alford, and then then the referees decided to start getting scared of Knight. And next thing you know, we lose. But to play Purdue there. And I mean, this is yet another of our tour of the greatest teams of the country right now. I was happy to see, by the way, that Arizona put a hurting on Alabama the other day too. Alabama hung with them a little better than we did, but Arizona still hung over 100 points on Alabama. I mean, Arizona still hung over 100 points on Alabama. Yeah,
in Alabama.
Yeah,
they didn't play him out there like we did. They played him at home.
Yes, and they still hung 100 on them, so that's good. Purdue, man, I don't know. I mean, we did play well against Houston, but
we did, and Purdue's a really good team. They're number 6 in KenPom, right behind Arizona and right ahead of Houston. So that just tells you what kind of team they are. They played a bunch of other top teams already, so they're experienced too.
Yeah.
We're going to have our hands full. But I do think, it's not a pure road game like the Arizona game was, and we have plenty of time to rest and prepare, unlike that game. So I do feel a bit better about this one.
All right. Well, that's basketball coming up. And then, man, we're just a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks away from the SEC season getting started, which is going to be a lot of fun this year, I hope. Also underway and running through this period will be the Bowl Pick'em. And how is that going? We have a lot of people signed up, I know.
A lot of patrons enjoying the Bowl Pick'em. I think we have over 50 people signed up, so it's exciting.
One of our most popular things we do.
It is, and there's only been 2 bowl games so far. Many of us are 2-0, so if you did not get in, you not get your picks in, let me know, and I'll work with you. But it's fun, and looking forward to it. We have 56 people competing. We're doing it on ESPN, and the next bowl games we'll discuss around the SEC when they come up. So it's fun, and We got some more good team names in here. We'll spend the next couple of weeks going over.
I just want to say real quick, if you want to play, you've only missed 2 games. There's plenty available, so you can jump right in and only, and not be too far behind. Just go to www.auwishbone.com, click on the big orange button, become a patron, and you probably at that point, because it's not automatic, you probably want to let us know.
And then let me know to let you in. Van's group name is the Warsaw Pact, and Bill Miner's group name is Boris is Invincible.
What? Boris has a segment coming up in just a minute, so he's kind of hanging around off camera, not really. I see a nose, but no, not yet, Boris. Hang on. All right, he has a little segment he's been working on coming up. So a whole lot of people are tied right now at 2-0, right?
I mean, there's like half the group is tied at 2-0, so we're not there.
Boris is 1-1. He's just doing that to kind of lull everybody into a false sense of security.
I'm watching you, Boris.
Yeah. And speaking of, let's go ahead and get him out here because he has a little segment. This was Mira and Amy suggested that now that, because he dresses up like this every year to be Santa Boris. And Santa Boris, he has a question for our listeners and patrons, which is, what would you like in your Auburn stocking for 2026? It can be like goodies. It could be like something that the football team has or does or accomplishes or gets, like you have your eye on this tight end you really want on the team. Or it could be something for the basketball team. So, John, what would you like in your Auburn stocking for 2026? Just tell Santa Boris, there's the eye of the tiger, and you can sit on his lap here, and he will try to make it come true for you, because that's just kind of tiger he is.
I would love an NCAA Auburn to make the NCAA tournament and play the first round near where I live. We're driving distance, so I could go to like in DC or Maryland or North Carolina or something, where I could go to a first round Auburn basketball tournament and NCAA tournament. That would be wonderful.
Boris is in an absolute conniption fit over that. He just loves the idea. I think I had 3 things I want. I'd like roster retention from our current Boris is pondering this one. I would like a new helmet for my office because I have the one back here. Where is my helmet? You can't even see it anymore, can you? It's off to the side. Dang. I might have to redo this since we zoom in now. I might put it up there where the Iron Man helmet is. And I would like tickets to the Florida game.
Yep.
Boris says he's going to have to jump on StubHub and see what he can come up with for that. All right. So
those are good ones.
Yeah. If you folks out there in Wishbone land, what is your wish for Santa Boris to bring to you this year? Send it to auwishbone@gmail.com, and Santa Boris will go over the greatest picks on our next episode. Merry War Eagle Christmas. All right. Thank you, Santa Boris. Always good to see you. I have a quick Count of Monte Cristo final update. Thanks to Walt for suggesting that I read that book. I finished it, and it was very good. And I gave it 4 stars on Facebook today. It's humongous. It's like 1,200 pages long. I also watched the movie, the French movie. There's a TV series, miniseries coming on PBS in, I think, March with Jeremy Irons in it. And there was a movie a few years ago. It is a very adapted story, but I really enjoyed it. And I mean, it is like the greatest revenge story ever written. So very, very entertaining. And I appreciate Walt sending me that way. Now, this is where we find out how Van forgot to dial up the right web page. So if you want to fill for just a moment, what else is going on in Auburn land, John? Just take me a second. I'm actually logged in, thank goodness.
No, it's all good. We'll spend some time over the next few weeks going through the rest of the SEC schedule as a whole, because I think there's a lot of other fun matchups. And then as we get closer to the season, we'll get time reveals for, they'll say these blocks of time and all that kind of stuff. So I look forward to that, seeing which of these games are going to be home night games, for example, will be good. The same day that we play Florida in week 3, LSU goes to Ole Miss. So the same day we play Florida, Lane Kiffin travels back to Oxford, Mississippi to face the wrath of the Ole Miss fans. So
see, it was worth me forgetting to bring up the Patreon page just for you to have a chance to throw that in, because that's a nice little tidbit. I like that. Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. The AU Wishbone podcast is presented to you ad-free, thanks to all our great patrons via patreon.com. Visit www.auwishbone.com. Click on the big orange button and become a patron. You can do stuff like the Bowl Pick'em. You can do stuff like our upcoming March Madness brackets. We'll have a Fantasy Formula One brand new season starting up in March. It's just going to be fantastic. So go to www.auwishbone.com. Our patrons include Samuel Salvatore, who is our title sponsor for Worst Coaches in the World. I'm just going to leave you hanging on that, because we're going to have it coming up in just a minute. But first, I have to thank the other patrons besides the great Samuel. They include Logan Chilton, who always asks, what do we sacrifice to be an Auburn fan?
What do I sacrifice? Everything.
It's so true. It's so true. Ben Spooner, who says a lot of things, but including the fact that I thought there was a schedule thing there, but I'm blanking out on it. But anyway, Ben Spooner reminds us it is blasphemy to not think that Auburn will do well in the coming year. Carl Von Drunker, Chris and Clinton Stewart. Mercer was sufficiently hated last week. Earl Ricks, Phil Amthor, now giving Van and John a break from the no sound clip since the dismal years are over, I hope. Man, Phil, we all hope that is right. Richard Stevens, Steve Trawick, Ann Pridgeon, Shane Bailey, Susan Trawick, Willie Carden, Matt Flowers. Play it again, Van, and that would be...
My head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love Jesus.
Gary Grant, a.k.a. AU fan at KSC, William Morgan, Bradley Blackman, Eric Morgan, Michael Kirshner. If Carol Shelby, I always enjoy these, could see Notre Dame fans, he'd say,
I don't speak Italian, but he ain't happy.
I'm going to say Michigan fans, too, to be fair there. David WDE Sammons Esquire, Harry Zager, G Money, Rich Reimer, Steve Harlan, Wes Atkinson. We're just
they just say that we're some dogs, honestly.
Again, a few more patrons, then back to the authorities. I wish that I had some kind of thing like when I'm making an observation about the basketball team on Twitter and somebody tells me I don't know what I'm talking about Auburn basketball. I always wish there was just like a thing I could shoot back. Like I need to get that picture from the whiteboard, but nobody would know what it is. But I'll make a GIF out of it. I don't know. Make a meme out of it. Catherine England, no one fights like Gaston. War Eagle always. Mickey B. Durkin's defense should be called the Iron Curtain. I like that. Durkin, we've got the Warsaw Pact on offense and the Iron Curtain on defense.
I got to think about that one.
All right.
I like it. I like the idea.
Okay. Winston Body, defending fantasy F1 drivers, manufacturers champion Lane. Well, not anymore, Lane. You've handed the trophy over now to Kirshner. Yeah, to Mr. Kirshner. Brandon Smith, Daniel Odom, 2008, 2009 Taliban Wrangler World Champion. H-Town Danny, WDE Richie, Chris Hilton, Ben Bloodworth, Bob W.E. Sammons, Auburn University debate team 74-75, and current Sleazy Shyster. Algo Rhythm and Blues, Rusty Owens, Goodbye Hugh, Hello Happiness, Luther and Kelly Ottaway, What Would the Terminator be called in his retirement? The Exterminator. Todd Robinson, aka Undisputed 2012 doubles badminton intramurals champion. Badminton is a game that is infuriating to me. I don't know how anybody hits those little things. They're just hard to hit.
The shuttle.
Yes, those. Chad McDowell, Auburn football's Elvis. I can't wait to see what StreamYard decides it should make little video clips out of this whole nonsense. Wade Ward, Reynolds Wolf. I have not said the famous command word yet that we've been told we can do. So I probably should have done that when we were talking about the SEC schedule. That's probably when I should have done it, and I didn't think about it. So Philip Martin, Jeff Hunter, a great day, comrades. We sail into history. Oh, I did add a couple of things. I'll say this: we're not. Who is it that's rolling off of our schedule that we're not playing this coming year? Missouri
A&M.
Oh, Texas A&M. You're leaving our schedule.
Well, bye.
Good.
I added one other that I thought would come in handy at some point.
I must break you.
I know we already had that one. I tried to clean it up a little bit, but it's still kind of hard to hear. Let's see. Timothy, Russell Milling. I want to use my H.W. Brands one at some point. We haven't talked about Alabama, though. Randall Walker, David Simpson, Josh Teal, Tony Perry, Rob Morgan. Patrick Williams says the AU wishbone is simply...
Whether you like it or not, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today.
Woo! Shannon Butson, Construction Tiger, Papa Todd, Cato, the SEC Pick'em champion. There you go. He got his resume on there. Good job. Stephen Houston, Kevin Mahan, Blake Heron, Sarah Hines, Sasquatch. Here we go. 7 times North America hide and seek champ. Wonders if Coach Golesh can get me into the Eastern European hide and seek games. Sasquatch, you did it. You got the whole thing in there. That's awesome. Way to go. Well done. Well done. Tim Pittman. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen the thing Jared's doing?
Yes.
Our third banana or fourth banana, yes, depending on how you count Boris. For those that don't know, Jared every day. Well, Boris thinks that you and I are second bananas for him, but Jared would be, I guess, third or fourth banana.
I feel like I'm the third banana to you and Boris, but I'm just putting that. So Jared is doing this thing on Twitter every day where he's jogging a couple miles and then asking Coach Golesh to follow him in a tweet. And he's like, it's really cold. Please follow me, Coach, so I don't have to keep doing that.
He's going to keep doing it till he follows him. I hate to tell Jared that that's not going to work, but I'm appreciating him trying. It's inspiring, and I'm hoping that it takes a long time because it's providing a lot of entertainment, and I don't want it to end soon. I'm sure Jared doesn't appreciate that, but
I hope it is successful, and I hope Jared has a good run. How about that?
And I hope Jared doesn't die of frostbite before it's over. Yeah. That's right. Tim Pittman, the aforementioned Boris the Tiger, Santa Boris. What? Charles Mooney. My inflatable house got a puncture today, so I now live in a flat. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's one of those British lines that people don't always know. David D, Auburn Blue, Dr. Crackham, Bill Weathers, Vegas lost to Michigan Monstars points diff champs. Okay. Walt is ready for actual offensive game plans because we all know the average risky doesn't take a dump son without a plan. That's another for October. I'm thinking about watching that again. I just watched it fairly recently, but it is a great movie.
It's a great movie. I can watch that anytime.
It is. I remember when it came out, it was problematic for us because it came out right as the Cold War was ending. And it's like if that movie had come out 2 years later, it wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? It would have been a history movie, rather a period piece. But they snuck it in right under the deadline there. I think like 90. The Berlin Wall had already come down when that movie came out. Antoine Morris, ABB. Wiggiber, the 2005 Auburn University Intramural Horseshoes champion. Tyler Ward, the 2025 War Ready Bracket champion. Mark Squire. Cue the anthem, boys. You know who's number one. Let's do it, John. Santa Boris. Auburn, number one. There we go. Good job, Sammy. Let's see. Alex Dwin, Kenneth Britt Raines, the barbecue.
You have failed me for the last time.
AKA Auburn Dad for life. John Stubbs, Clay Henson, Justin Bean, James Taylor, Ruth and Darren Sutherland. And finally, we're in the home stretch. Stephen Thompson, Ben Amos, Spanky, the 1991 Auburn University lacrosse team goal percentage leader at 66%. 2 goals on 3 shots. I guess that's pretty good. Chris Como, Darren Pyle, Theodore Gary, David Smiley, Trevor Johnson, Royce Alvarez, college equestrian expert Auburn Elvis, AU Falling Up, John Otsuki, Paul Banks, and MVP captivating Kathy Bright.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
Ben Rigas, Bobby Polite, Elizabeth Donald, I'll buy this for $1. Rich Hammett, Chris Braun, Alex Browns, Siberian Tiger, that's not you, B. The Slinko family, Daniel Witten, Tim Sauls, Jim McCrory. I will lick the toes of you. I will not lick the toes of you. I do not like those toes of woe. I am Tiger. I'm not a hoe. Okay. New York Tiger knows Santa does not pay to park his sleigh because it is always on the house. Steve Bailey, CT Tiger, Jim Myers, Trey Jackson, Howard Franz, Peter Wang, Willie Moe, Zach Warren, Chris, and our one-time and anonymous donors. We thank you all. www.auwishbone.com. Coming up, we have listener questions and around the SEC. But first, presented by the great Samuel Salvatore as our title sponsor for this segment, it is our weekly list of the most idiotic, stupid, and ridiculous worst coaches in the world. And this week, it's a pretty short list, John. It's kind of hard to go wrong here. Samuel points out Sharon Moore, formerly of the Michigan Wolverines, now of the Michigan Correctional Institute. Threw his career away because of an affair with an intern. Really dumb to have a coworker affair, no doubt. Cheated on his wife and letting his 3 daughters down. Immediately taken into custody right after being fired from his job. What a loser. Got the intern pregnant. Wanted her to get an abortion, which is she refused, which has led her to the university to their affair. And I believe she did, though, actually. After he was fired, he went to the intern's house, seized a knife, and tried to stab the girl, which is what led to his arrest. And I just want to add, every time we hear something about this, it just seems to get worse and worse. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking he also kidnapped the Lindbergh baby.
It's a terrible story.
It is. And I mean, Michigan fans have to just be not even going out of their houses right now. I mean, you know, we've been embarrassed by some of the things our coaches have done over the years, but I don't think very many have come close to this level.
Not on the same planet as this.
No. So, and Michigan's current coach, their interim coach, is an interesting dude. Yes. So that isn't going to last long. But I have a dream, John, that they hire Kalen DeBoer. Not because I fear Kalen DeBoer, because I'm enjoying them losing 3 or 4 games a year, but because I just like more turmoil and chaos for Alabama and seeing that other programs can hire their coach away.
He's made a bunch of denials in the last 24 hours, but if they lose to Oklahoma, it's on the table.
Yeah.
If Alabama wins that game, he won't leave. If they lose to Oklahoma, him going to Michigan's on the table.
It's called the Bill Curry maneuver.
Mm-hmm. Well, or the who's the one that went to A&M?
Oh, yeah. Francione. Yeah, it's the Curry / Francione maneuver. That's the thing. Coaches leave Alabama for other jobs. It's happened at least twice just since we've been paying attention, really, you know. Coaches don't tend to leave Auburn for other jobs, which is both a good and a bad thing in some ways. I was just going to tell you, Golesh is the first coach we've had in a long time that I thought could actually leave Auburn for another job if he does well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he comes to Auburn and does really well, as young as he is and as attractive as his offense and everything, I could see, you know, somebody. I'm not so egotistical of an Auburn fan to think that we're in the top, you know, top echelons. We've always said we're about number 13, and I'm okay with that because that means there's about 187 lower than us and 12 a-holes bigger than us, and that's fine. But one of those 12 might come calling with some cash, you know. So, but it's been a long time since we've had to worry about that. I think the last coach I was worried at any point might leave us for a bigger job, and this is going to sound funny now, but Terry Bowden. When we were like 20-0, you know, he comes in and we're 20-0. Are you kidding? I'm like, yeah, I could see Michigan or, you know, somebody like that coming in and getting him. Sure. Then, of course, things took a nosedive after that. But at 20-0, I mean, come on, you know. With Pat Dye's leftovers, he goes out there and goes 20-0. So, anyway, that's been today's – thank you for our title sponsor, Samuel Salvatore. Today's worst coaches in the world. All right, let's go right on into.
Thank you. Order. Questions to the Prime Minister.
It's time for listener questions. Dun 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 on the AU Wishbone podcast.
We gotta get better at celebrating.
All right, what's up in the listener questions?
Got a question here from Bill Miner, who's the subject line is future non-conference FBS game. He says, "Hey guys, I was very excited to hear that Auburn is slated to play Troy, even if it is 6 years away. I feel like you shouldn't not play a team because you're scared, but it's a good thing for all parties in mind. Hopefully we'll be humming along with Golesh in charge and we'll just continue to win. I know they were notably one of the non-conference FBS teams we haven't played. Several others like Notre Dame are scheduled and will be coming off the list as well. Of the teams we haven't played and aren't currently scheduled to play, who would you most like to see Auburn play? I just have a few names, but there are likely plenty more, so this is his list. Iowa, Illinois, he says, could Van contain himself?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Pitt, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, UCLA, Stanford, Utah, Arizona State, BYU, Boise State, Hawaii, and Navy are ones that pop to me. It's also kind of funny to think that we haven't played Hawaii, but we know someone who did because of probation issues that got them beat by them.
Ah, it's so good. Aloha. Aloha. I haven't told that story in a long time, that when that happened, when Alabama scheduled Hawaii and they went out there and got beat, and I went to an Auburn game, and I was in the restroom, and there was like this 90-year-old man with his pants unzipped, just kind of wandering around the bathroom going, aloha, aloha. That died. That was so good. But Navy would be cool just because Navy's kind of my second team.
But Navy would be cool. Again, for all of these, I'd love to do a home and home, right? I mean, I'd love to play Illinois or Iowa in home and home. I'd love to play BYU or Utah in home and home would be great. Come on, that would be
Beautiful.
really fun to play out there in Utah.
see my
and
cousins.
one of those schools. You know, we
Stanford
had
would be-
UCLA scheduled, and they canceled it. Stanford's, it's fine, I guess, but I'm not real worried about Stanford anytime soon. Pitt is an interesting one. I
Yeah.
like Pittsburgh. It's a cool place. They're kind of a chaos engine like Auburn, so that could be kind of a fun home and
That's
home.
true.
ACC power Pitt at this point. So
Yeah.
but no, out of that list, to me, I would say Utah, BYU, or they're like Illinois or Iowa, and then maybe Pitt.
Definitely Illinois, Navy, and yeah. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't played Iowa State. That seems like a natural match too.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So those all sound good. Who doesn't play teams like Troy though?
Alabama.
You're an idiot, and there's probably something wrong with your character as well. You're not just misguided, but you're probably sort of evil, or at least so ignorant that you are effectively evil.
I missed part of it because I was laughing and my headphone fell off.
I mean,
Such a
it is a big deal. Auburn's playing Troy. Auburn's playing North Alabama. Auburn's played every in-state school basically, and Alabama plays none of them because they're scared.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to explain to some Alabama people, the only reason Auburn and Alabama play each other is because it's everybody's the state legislature made them. No, remember we found this out in our book, and it's in First Time Ever.
Mm-hmm.
The state legislature offered Auburn and Alabama money to upgrade their home and home stadiums, and Auburn was in public saying we want to play Alabama, and Alabama were the ones that were not saying anything. And we have the correspondence within the University of Alabama where their leaders were writing to each other saying, hey, we're looking bad here. We look like the chickens. We look like we're the ones that are afraid. We need to do something about this. So it was a combination of give us money and stop making us look like the scaredy cats is the only reason they even play one in-state school. They'd rather not play any of us.
Right. And remember, what's their involvement with the other in-state schools? They tried to destroy UAB. That's their view of the other smaller in-state schools. They'd kill all of them tomorrow if they could.
They tried to absorb Auburn into their maw, and it was FDR that saved us. My favorite president, FDR, saved us because the New Deal money poured that agricultural adjustment, whatever money, into Auburn right when we needed it, built up our coffers, kept us independent, kept Alabama from taking us over. That was in like the late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Thank you, New Deal.
All right. That is the only question we have from listeners. If you have a question for us, please send it to aewishbone@gmail.com. I have a question for Van since we only had one listener.
I was going to say that was a really good question. We appreciate that one.
That was a good question.
For who,
And I'm glad he mentioned the Troy thing because we didn't mention on the show. It's a big deal.
That's right.
Here's my question for you. I was going to save this for a future show, but I'm going to ask it now.
Okay.
This is a quarterback scenario question. Okay. The goal is to win this year.
Oh.
Okay.
I know where this is going.
What if South Florida quarterback Byron Brown enters the transfer portal and wants to come to Auburn? He knows the system. He's been very effective in that system. But by accepting him, you might drive off Deuce Knight, for example. What would you do?
But would Ashton remain in that scenario, or we lose both of them? Or do we only lose
There's
one?
no guarantee about Ashton. I mean, there's rumors Ashton Daniels going in the transfer portal. That was not officially reported today, but that's in the rumor mill.
Ooh. I feel like if it's just Brown and Deuce, they could coexist, especially knowing this would be Brown's last year and Deuce would basically be the crown prince and inherit the whole kingdom.
Yeah, but I think somebody's going to tell Deuce Knight, you can start here this year. Why are you sitting on the bench? I think
that could happen regardless of what Brown does.
That's true. But
so Daniels is the starter right now.
So let me ask you this. I'm telling you, Golish comes to you and says the objective is to win football games in 2026 with the schedule we just went over. Your choices are Byron Brown, Ashton Daniels, Deuce Knight. Pick one.
Yeah, I know the need to win immediately favors Brown, but I think the upside with Deuce that we saw in that Mercer game, I know it was Mercer, but still, he looked like Cam Newton out there. How can you let that go? I think you do whatever you can to keep Deuce, bring in Brown, and you tell Ashton, stay if you want, but if you got to go, we understand and we wish you nothing but the best. I don't mean to be selfish, but I feel like you got to keep two of those guys.
I get it. But if I told you can only keep one of those three, what are you doing?
Deuce.
I hear you.
Because Brown has only got 1 year, and then we got nothing. Daniels has only got 1 year.
But if the objective is to win in 26, I think it's
clearly
Brown. The Deuce Knight play is a longer term play where you might get 2 or 3 years out of it.
I think he'd be good next year.
I think he would be good next year.
I agree with him that he could be starting. I don't agree with,
So I want to say this. I think Deuce Knight could be really good in this offense. I think that's great. You can start him at Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia next year. We'll have real problems. I'm just laying that out there. So
but just bear in mind, if Deuce leaves, the other two guys will be gone after next year too.
Sure.
If they're not gone before that. And then you got nothing.
I hear you.
I want Deuce. I don't know Byron Brown from a hole in the wall. If he comes in and is good, then God bless him. Let's go. But right now, I know the bird in the hand. I don't know the one in the bush.
That's fair. Here's my case for Brown, okay? Passing last year, 3,158 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
And it's not bad. Rushing, 1,000 yards, 5.7 per carry, 14 touchdowns.
It's pretty good. He's special.
And he knows the offense. So he and the head coach, simpatico. None of this. We're not sure what the quarterback could do. We got to take it easy on him. He's going to be able to come in and run the offense 100 miles an hour the first day and teach the other players.
I get it.
So that
I want them both. Call me selfish. I want them both.
I need
to mail $5. I need to mail $5 to the NIL fund. Boris, scrape us up some cash. Boris will sell some plasma.
Get out there, Boris.
He'll do it. He'll go panhandle for us. They go stand at the exit near Costco and little cardboard sign. Will be cute for NIL money. NIL money, baby. All right. That's a good one. Let's take a look around the SEC. Well, in bigger picture, we had one main game last weekend. Navy beat Army. I was very happy.
Army had it the whole game.
They did. They look good. It's another great game. It's almost always a really good game.
Yes.
And Navy was able to just put together a few things on that final drive. They got a few key pass interference calls and, that kind of thing. And it was cool. It was a great game. And they always look so good. I always like how they kind of go all out with their uniforms. I thought Army's – all right, let me put it this way. Whoever's in charge of Navy's uniforms and helmets for that game, I always feel like they go a little too far. I never like – I feel like Navy should come out in navy blue with a gold helmet and just be clean and classic. That's what they ought to do. They come out with like battleships on their helmet and different colors and all. I'm like, man, come on. But Army, that was a sweet outfit Army had on in that game. It was all white with a silver helmet. I was just like, whoa, Army looks good. That was a great look.
That was a good one.
So,
I liked it.
They won the fashion contest portion of the game. So they usually do. To be fair. All right. Tuesday we have a bowl game, right? Jacksonville State and Troy.
Bowl games almost every night this week, so just roll with it.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. As I always say, John, we'll have football and football and football and football and football and beer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Thank you very much. That one is, thank you. 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern, ESPN on Tuesday. Wednesday, Old Dominion, not the New Dominion, not the Middle Dominion, the Old Dominion. Old Dominion versus South Florida. Perhaps you've heard of them with a certain Byron Brown. And that one's at 4:00 Central on ESPN Wednesday. I have to make a note of that because I don't usually go looking for bowl games at 4:00 on the first bowl week. Delaware and Louisiana Lafayette at 7:30 Central. Thursday, we got Arkansas State, the cradle of Auburn coaches, versus Missouri State. I got to tell you, I live 20 miles from Missouri. I never see anything about Missouri State. I wouldn't know they exist if they weren't written down here. Which is almost true of Missouri, too. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So weird living in this area as an SEC fan. Friday, Kennesaw State, which was like a little commuter 2-year college up in Marietta when I lived there.
Yep.
Now they're the big time. Look at you, Kennesaw State. Versus Western Michigan at 11 a.m. Is that 11 a.m. Eastern?
Yes.
Or is that the Jefferson Pilot? Wow.
11 a.m. Eastern.
God, get up early for that one Friday. And then Memphis versus NC State at 2:20 Eastern on ESPN. All right. And then comes, you may have heard of it, the college football playoffs. You know what they are.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yes, I'm not kidding. Friday, this coming Friday, Oklahoma is letting all their students and whoever's be working on that random December 19th go. They're not going to have a work day that day. It's a vacation because they're playing Alabama. Alabama at Oklahoma at 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. What do you think about that game? We're not going to get to talk about it until it's over.
I hope the weather is freaking miserable at that game. I hope it's like, 35 degrees sleeting or something, and while they're all sitting in that stadium. Because also that would really mess up the Alabama passing game too. That would just be delightful.
And we know they have no run game.
No, and they can't handle the cold. They would all be whining in the stands on the side.
And they can't handle the Oklahoma defense either.
No, so I mean, again, remember when Oklahoma won before in Tuscaloosa, that was one of the flukiest games of the year. It was like a 90% win probability for Alabama. So Oklahoma's going to have to play much better at home to have a chance to win this game, but I think they can. So
it is at home, so that helps. Yeah, that'll be nice. 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern on ABC, and then on Saturday, get ready. Miami at Texas A&M at 11 a.m. Tulane at Ole Miss at 2:30. That'll be fun. And then James Madison at Oregon. Does Mr. Madison have a chance all by himself against Oregon?
Yes.
So James
not
Madison
a good chance, but a chance.
They've flown completely under my radar. I think of them as a mid-major basketball program.
They're a mid-major football program too, but they haven't played any Power 5 teams this year. I think they're pretty good. All right. I don't know if they're going to hang with Oregon. Their coach, James Madison's coach, just got hired away from UCLA. We'll see if that's a attraction. But I think they got some players, and I think they're going to be able to hang around with Oregon for a while. So
That'll be fun. All right. I'd love to see a brand new team come out of nowhere and like a basketball, like one of these George Mason type basketball runs that and then on Monday, Utah State, Washington State at 2:00 Eastern, 1:00 Central on ESPN. And John and I, we were just noting that we will not be doing our live show at the usual time on Monday because we have tickets to the Illinois-Missouri basketball game in St. Louis, a sort of border war there. So it's just basically the chance came up to get the tickets, and my wife said, hey, that sounds like a fun thing. So she went and grabbed them and told us we're going to the Illinois-Missouri basketball game, which my daughter may be going to Illinois in a year, so she was interested too. So we'll figure out when we'll do our show, and we'll tweet it out and so forth, and we'll figure it out when we're going to do it. But anyway, it will not be at this time next week. It might be Sunday night or whatever. We will see. All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, excited for bowl season. As you said, football all the time. Randomly turn on the TV in an evening, enjoy a random bowl game.
And Santa Boris is ready to deliver a whole new winning season of Auburn football on the back of his sleigh for 2026. All right. Our time is up. Boris and I and John, thank you for yours. War Eagle, John and Boris.
War Eagle.